Wow, can you imagine being here with all the protests happening? Completely insane.
Lebanon has become, for all intents and purposes, a failed state.
Now, there have been reports of gunfire outside the US Embassy.
There has been a huge explosion in the Lebanese capital.
This has been a disaster in slow motion. Almost everybody saw it coming. Lebanon's politicians have simply stood by and watched their country slip into the abyss.
Welcome to Beirut. It is kind of crazy at this airport. Everybody is rushing in. There's like a long line of people waiting for other people. Whew. I guess that defines an airport, now that I'm thinking about it. Well, Ali has found us and we're in pouring rain here in Beirut. Oh, so much rain today. Ah. Yeah. We have made it to our hotel room. We found Ali finally. He charged us $10 US plus $2 for a parking ticket. And it was like a 10-minute ride. It's not even that far. Like Beirut is such like a compact city. So it took us like 10 minutes to come from the airport and then a lovely hotel room.
But you literally could see almost nothing on the car ride here because there are very few streetlights along the way and it's raining so hard. So it was an interesting drive. But this hotel is really nice.
Yeah, it's the first time we've not had any cell signal at the airport. I
yeah.
feel like that's a challenge we haven't had yet because we just have T-Mobile and it always works. And T-Mobile warned us that nothing is covered in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And everything will be charged like, I don't know, some crazy amounts of money, like 50 cents for a text message and $6 for a megabyte of data. So we turned off our phones when we're using Wi-Fi. But we got here. And you know, the people are super nice right now. So
Yeah.
no one scammed us yet.
Nobody scammed us yet.
Good start. It's a good start.
It's a great start.
Yeah, it's the first win.
And they accepted US dollars, which is really nice because we don't have any Lebanese pound yet.
Hotel room tour. Are you going to show them around? While I lay on the
There's
bed?
really not that much to show. That's our door. Bathroom. We got a closet. We got a TV. Bed.
And my favorite feature, there's this little balcony area. Just enough room for a table and chairs.
And as you can see, Beirut is very dark. Good morning from Beirut, Lebanon, and it's day one. And the first thing anybody does in Beirut is exchange some money, so that's what we're gonna do.
Shall we?
What's the rate today? 88? Okay. $100?
Yes, Steven.
Okay, 88 it is.
Sorry, I just wanted to exchange $100.
All this?
How do I count?
Hey, there's no way to count.
I'm asking please for re-exchange.
There's so much.
6.
We got 880. No, sorry, 8,080,000.
80,000, right?
88, yeah, so 88,000. Sorry, 800. This is so confusing.
8,888,000.
Something like that.
I tried counting, but there's like way too many bills. Yeah, but we did ask for SIM cards. She was like, I think every plan she had was like $40 plus. So we're gonna go to the more centrally located like SIM card spot in the city where you buy it.
Yeah.
But next stop is coffee. I have a headache.
Here we coffee shop, so. Hello.
Hello.
See what you can do.
You want to eat?
Coffee.
No, just coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Turkish or Kibret?
Espresso. Yeah.
Two?
What do you want? You want a cappuccino?
Yeah.
Okay, two cappuccino.
Two cappuccino?
Yeah. To go.
Takeaway over here.
Take away.
Takeaway, yeah. And the prices here are in US dollars. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And how much?
120, 120, 240.
240?
240. 240,000.
Where is it in the Paris?
Right here, yeah, Parisian.
Parisian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
بقول لك حكيم هذول ما يعرفون المخلل او نسميها احنا نسميها
كبيس.
عنبه
كبير.
ها نسميها عنبه نخليها مع البيض
Well,
والطماطم
240. Like
شو
that.
تسموها
مخلل.
Is it good?
I like it. It's very hot, so be careful.
مش مخلل.
This is the coffee shop.
شو؟
It's very hot, so be careful. Yeah, you're gonna burn yourself.
You have 40?
Okay, so coffee was pretty nice.
It's very good.
240,000. $2.4, I think. That's what I'm gonna say. $2.4.
We'll convert it when we get internet.
I'm so confused. Okay, we got some coffee for the rest of the workday. We're back to our hotel for now. We will catch up on this vlog when it stops raining. Because my camera is now waterproof. So let's go in.
That's a problem.
Okay, so we are now walking through the hotel district of Beirut. And in 1960s and 70s, this place used to be called the Paris of the Middle East. And the reason being, it was so opulent. Foreigners used to come here on vacation. There used to be these high-rise hotels. And Holiday Inn was one of those hotels. The Holiday Inn opened in 1974 and was one of the most opulent hotels in Beirut. And 1975 was the start of the Civil War. And it became kind of like a flashpoint between the two competing militias. And right there is the Holiday Inn. It's one of the lasting monuments remembering the Civil War. Somehow it still exists. It's written with bullet holes and it's right in the middle of the city. So we are now walking from the hotel district towards what was called the Green Line. It demarcated the boundary between East and West Beirut, with East Beirut being more Christian and West Beirut being more Muslim. So we have made it to what would be at some point the Green Line, and you can see the Holiday Inn right behind me, which would be part of West Beirut, and then this road would just be overgrown brush, and on this side would be East Beirut. And crossing the street is not without risk in Beirut.
We have noticed that in some parts of the city, the stoplights do function, and in other parts, like where we're staying, there are no functional stoplights whatsoever. So it does make, I think, driving and walking as a pedestrian a little difficult here.
And the stark contrast between the Holiday Inn and this brand new building here.
Lebanon has had two periods in its history of general prosperity. So the first one was prior to the Civil War here, between like 50s, 60s, maybe early 70s, where they were able to achieve a really strong middle class during the 90s, right before the economic crisis, which hit in 2018. Both periods of economic prosperity really were not sustainable. It had to do with a lot of manipulation that was happening in the government and at a higher economic level that created kind of this false sense of prosperity. There were still the haves and the have-nots in this country, but today, even though during those times they were able to achieve a strong middle class, a middle class really does not exist in this country. You have the people who have money and then the people who are really struggling to even take care of their basic needs.
We're at the Yacht Club of Beirut, so if you were to walk on this boardwalk, you wouldn't really realize there was an economic crisis in this country. There is coffee shops where coffee costs upwards of $6 a cup, and you see a lot of people just going about their day. But it's kind of interesting how you have a severe economic crisis in the country, people with no electricity, and there are also people at the same time eating caviar here for, I don't know, $60 US. It's kind of interesting dichotomy of sorts, as you can see right here. I'm also told that the people that can actually afford kind of like an upper class lifestyle here are people with family members abroad that can send dollars back to Lebanon, and they can convert them at a higher rate now that the currency is depreciated. What we're gonna try to do next is try to head to the Port of Beirut. I know it's probably like covered up, but that's the site of the biggest blast that was non-nuclear in recent history here in Beirut in August 2020, and try to see how it would have affected people here and just try to get as close as we can. Most of it is probably going to be cordoned off, but we'll try our best. Okay, so we've been walking for a while. I just don't know how close we can get because we're in the Beirut Central District, so I think that way should be the port, but there's just more buildings and checkpoints, so I'm not sure if we can actually even get there from this area, but maybe we can go across the city and then see from the other side of the water.
Tesla, Range Rover.
So this looks like a fancy gym, and all we see is Alfa Romeo, Porsche, Hyundai, not included, Porsche again, Range Rover. The amount of money there is here. A Jaguar. So, as you can see, there's not a lack of money in Lebanon. It's just distributed to a very small number of people. And that is primarily the problem here in Lebanon. But somewhere over there is the port, which means we will have to kind of circle around town and then get to some place where we can get a better view of this. So it looks like we weren't successful in getting to the port from this angle, so we're gonna go across the city. And surprisingly, the distances are not short here, even though Lebanon as a country is very small. It only has about 6 million people. So a little history about the currency crisis while I'm walking to the port is since the 90s, the currency was set to be $1 equals 1,500 Lebanese pound. I was about to say Egyptian pounds. And that's how it consistently stayed until 2018. This was partially done by the government to keep Lebanon looking like a stable economy. People can invest here, and you could exchange your Lebanese pounds back to dollars at a fixed rate. It helps people add confidence to the system. But by 2018, the government came out with this new legislation to tax WhatsApp and any sort of internet calling, which really enraged people. They started protesting in the streets, and I think there was a lack of confidence in the government that they could actually maintain the exchange rate at the fixed rate that it was for the last 20 years. And ever since then, the black market rate has been tanking. It went from 1,500 to 2,000 to 2,500, and now it's almost 90,000. At its peak, it was 150,000 pounds to $1. So a lot of people have lost, obviously, their savings, their value of their savings. Their Lebanese pounds don't buy them the same amount of goods they used to back even 3 years ago. So that is one of the main reasons for most of the economic problems here. It's really just revealed the financial mismanagement of the Lebanese government and kind of put it out there in front of the people. And if that wasn't enough, obviously there was a gigantic blast in August of 2020 that everybody knows of. That's how they know Beirut in the news. And if you can see that building right there, the whole facade is gone. And it's all because of the blast. So, yeah. Okay, so we're trying to get into this building. Maybe we'll get a better shot at the... But it has all these barbed wires, so I don't think we can go in. This might also be a military building. Okay. Oh I still can't find this abandoned building that we can get into to get a better view at the port. So let's see. Keep looking. I think we're just exploring this port area. We'll see how we can get close to it. It just seems quite difficult. There's a lot of military checkpoints that have closed off most of the entrances to the sidewalks, but let's see. Let's see how far we can get. Well, doesn't look like we'll be successful in finding an entry point, but maybe we'll keep looking later in the day. For now, we're gonna head to downtown Beirut and see some of the more historical squares and sites, and I think how they've been affected by some of the devastation here from the blast. Wow, look at this. The house linen collection. Wow. I don't know if you guys can see these fancy buildings. They're selling like jewelry that probably most people cannot afford here.
You see like emeralds the size of like my palm.
It's crazy. Okay, now we have entered the historic downtown area of Beirut. This used to be kind of the center of commerce and industry and people hanging out. And it's definitely taken a big hit due to the August 2020 blast. You can actually visibly see how little number of stores are now open here. And people are just not hanging around as much in downtown anymore. But this is where all the cool sites are.
Yeah, it's very apparent how empty it is. You think of most downtown areas of big cities and they're bustling. This is not that at all. They pretty trees.
We're trying to go to this clock tower in the middle of downtown. It's very famous. It's a clock tower with a Rolex that was gifted to Lebanon by its former colonizer, France. And it just seems to be completely closed off by the military. And there's no real reason for it because we see other people go in. But the other day we were here on a tour and we couldn't get in, and we can't get in today either, so. Oh, there's the clock tower. The most famous clock tower of all time. We've made our way to downtown, pretty much the center of downtown. We're at Martyr Square. There's this gigantic bronze statue that represents the struggle of the Lebanese people against the Ottomans in 1916, and a Lebanese woman who's protesting against the Ottoman rule here. But in more recent times, this square has become a place for protests for social justice.
This square was flooded with people for weeks on end. That protest lasted a really long time. We're actually going to show you one of the buildings around the square where a lot of the protesters met, talked about the ideas that they had for how to change the country and move forward with a revolution.
We're here at a very significant spot in the city. Right next to the mosque is this old, what used to be a cinema that was built prior to the Civil War. It was supposed to be one of the biggest malls in the Middle East. And it just never saw the light of day. It got involved in the Civil War between the two sides right on the Green Line, and this is kind of what remains of it. The thing is, you can actually go inside. I don't know how legal it is, but our tour guide said the other day that it's totally fine.
So there used to be a wooden barrier around this, and then the protesters tore that wooden barrier down in 2019 when they took this as kind of their headquarters for the protests. And now there's this like wire barrier on the outside, and people have just cut through the wire a couple of openings, and now everybody just seems to enter through those openings. So the city really can't keep people out.
So we have a lot of the information that we're giving you today, we have to thank from our tour guide. We did an alternative Beirut walking tour here and learned so much about the city. There was a girl who's probably in her mid-20s and was one of the important member in the protests of 2019. And she gave us all of the history of what happened here. So there used to be like lectures, The protesters used to come here to talk about all the ideas and how they were going to organize during the 2019 protests and kind of talk about what their demands were as well. This was the spot basically where everybody met, stayed day and night in 2019 until the end of the protests. And there's a lot of graffiti around here with some really cool messages and cool designs on the wall. It's just a neat place to walk around and think about what it must have been like in 2019 when you had all of the people here just protesting day and night.
So next, I think we're gonna go upstairs. Upstairs is actually where most of the meeting happened, and there is also some more interesting art graffiti on the walls up there.
There's glass all over the place, even small bits of it. Perfect view of the mosque.
Wow, can you imagine being here with all the protests happening? Completely insane. Wow, just look at all the graffiti. It's crazy. We have made it up into what would have been the cinema back in 1974. It was still under construction at the time, so it was unfortunately never open to the public and got engulfed in the Civil War. It's kind of a cool piece of urban relic. You know, you have a lot of cities with urban relics like this, but I have to say this is pretty special to come up here and see all of the different emotions that people have written down on the wall. A lot of anti-government stuff, a lot of kind of a general loss in confidence with their government. So I think we've decided to go from the cinema. We're gonna show you the Beirut Souks. When we think about souks, we've been to a couple of Middle Eastern countries, and souks always represent a really old market or bazaar where you can buy all the trinkets, and Beirut Souks is not that. It is made to be kind of a rich person's paradise. Ever since the August 2020 blast, it's mostly been dead. So we kind of want to show you what the reality is of, you know, downtown. It's just where there's just like nobody anymore. So
Went to the souks the other day, and again, it looks really nice, very posh and clean, but there's just nobody shopping there. It's really not a place for your average person from Beirut. There are some restaurants there as well that looked a little bit busier than the shops, but even then, like, the pricing on the menu, it's not really affordable for an average person in Beirut either. So it's an interesting, it's just an interesting place to check out. And when you think about downtown, it's not some place that someone in Beirut would spend their time on average.
okay, we have entered from one of the only entrances that the army is left open. And to be honest, all the shops here are dead. They're like abandoned. They look like a bomb exploded here. It's probably what happened, right? So,
But everything stayed intact, just all the people left.
you know, the glass is shattered, and you know, some of the glass is shattered.
Some of it, yeah.
But yeah, I think they've just like put like intense controls around downtown, and you're just not really allowed to go into most of the downtown areas now. So, but this is probably one of the few ones we can. I mean, as you can see right over there, there is a checkpoint, and you can't go past that. That's the clock tower checkpoint. There's like 6 of those around the clock tower, but you can't get into any of them. Anyways, talking about a little bit about safety in Lebanon. We've been here a couple days, and what has your opinion been on the safety? average
I've
person.
generally felt pretty safe here. It's just the only thing that bothers me is like the street lights at night. They don't go on, or they consistently are going off, so you can't really see like where you're going, and like bad things can happen with little lighting. Yeah. So I think during the day I feel fine. At night, I definitely think that you should avoid walking long distances by yourself, or even with a partner. Just take a cab instead. In terms of safety from the war or the conflict that's going on right now, we really haven't felt any of that here in Beirut, other than like maybe increases and decreases in military presence like throughout the days. But you can't hear or see any of the missile action. All of that is in South Lebanon, and doesn't really affect the city of Beirut. Life
it feels pretty safe,
is
what
here.
we're trying to say. Yes.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is the military people have actually been very nice to us. A lot less heavy-handed than you would see otherwise. I mean, they are present everywhere, but they don't really like yell at you or tell you to, you know, don't record this or don't show this. So they've been, I mean, they're there, but they're not really like, I think of them as like the local cops or something, you know. I don't think of them as the military per se. They just have bigger guns than the local cops. Okay, so we have made our way into what used to be Beirut Souks. As you can see, not much of it is left. It's very dead. And it's like these beautiful buildings. They look like they were built like a couple years ago and just dead. Let's walk through one of these streets and see what we can see.
We were here the other day, so we're here like midday on a Tuesday, so it would be quiet regardless, but we were here at night on a Saturday night, and it was just like exactly like this, dead.
Yeah, I just want you to know it's dead because there's literally no stores. Well, this store is still around, Mag Optics, but it is closed. Oh no, they're open.
Yeah, there are a few places.
Hey, they're open. Okay, so this is the main thoroughfare of the Beirut Souks. Yet another empty store. Although their escalators do work properly. Whew. Yeah, so talking about the Lebanese economy, they've lost almost 50% of their GDP in the last couple of years, so I'm not shocked that half of these stores are now closed and people are unable to afford most of these goods. This used to be the guest relations desk at one point. Yeah, and just the stores that are empty. There's just absolutely no stores open on this level. This used to be a Zara at one point. The latest fashion, probably back in 2020. It's just dead. So yeah, that's the Beirut Souks here. Hopefully at some day they will open back up and people will be able to afford some of these luxury goods. But for now, it's just the sad reality of Lebanon and Beirut in general is, yeah. Okay, we're gonna make our way out from here. Anyways, I think that is all we have for you today. We're gonna go back to our hotel. It's our last day in Beirut, Lebanon. So hope you like this video and share and subscribe. And for more videos, hit that subscribe button.
Thanks for supporting us, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.